You probably imagine that domestic robots are still the stuff of laboratories, unstable prototypes, impressive videos on YouTube, promises for 10 years from now. That idea is outdated. A Chinese company called X Square Robot has placed an autonomous robot inside real homes, not for a demonstration, not for internal testing, but as a paid service, available to anyone with a smartphone. And the detail that nobody was expecting is not the robot itself, it is the business decision behind it. A move so simple and so smart that industry experts admitted they should have thought of it first. Want to understand everything? Then watch the video until the end and I will explain it all. But first, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. That way, you will stay informed about the latest news in robotics. Imagine waking up, opening an app on your phone, and scheduling a home cleaning. When the team arrives, there will be two members, a human professional and a robot. The robot will not freeze in the middle of the hallway. It will not need voice commands. It will perceive the environment, plan what to do, and execute the tasks on its own. This is not a laboratory prototype. This is already reality, and it is available to any resident of Shenzhen in China at this very moment. X Square Robot announced a partnership with 58.com, one of the largest domestic services platforms in China, to launch the country's first commercial residential cleaning service with robots. The announcement, widely covered in the global technology sector, was confirmed in an official statement. Who is X Square Robot? The company, headquartered in Shenzhen and founded in 2023, describes itself as a pioneer in embodied artificial intelligence, what experts call embodied AI. The kind that does not live only on screens and servers, but that perceives the physical world and acts within it. Formerly known as Variable Robotics Technology Company, the company develops general-purpose artificial intelligence foundation models that integrate vision, language, and action models with world models. The company's growth trajectory is impressive. In January 2026, X Square Robot completed a funding round, raising approximately $140 million, equivalent to 1 billion yuan. The round attracted heavyweight investors such as ByteDance and HongShan, as well as backers from previous rounds, including Alibaba Group and Meituan. This level of financial confidence, coming from Chinese technology giants, is not accidental. It reflects something that is happening too fast to be ignored. The context in which this launch takes place is also fundamental. China has accelerated its strategic bet on humanoid robotics. The 2026 government work report explicitly identified embodied intelligence as a key industry of the future to be cultivated, with support from the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, which published new standards for humanoid robotics this year. Shenzhen, a city known as the Chinese Silicon Valley, has emerged as the main testing ground for these technologies. What makes this moment historic is the transition it represents. For years, domestic robots were either rudimentary appliances, such as automatic vacuum cleaners, or experimental projects confined to university laboratories and research centers. What X Square Robot is doing is different. It is the first time that a robot with foundational artificial intelligence, capable of understanding tasks and adapting to unpredictable environments, has arrived in the homes of real consumers as a contractable service. And the question the entire industry is asking is this just the beginning? To understand what makes the X Square Robot different from everything that existed before, it is necessary to understand the concept of embodied intelligence and why it represents such a significant leap. Most existing commercial robots today operate with scripts, fixed sequences of pre-programmed movements. If the object is out of place, if the surface is different from what was expected, or if there is an unforeseen obstacle, the robot simply fails or stops. Unlike conventional robots that depend on scripts or remote control, X Square Robot's end-to-end model allows robots to understand tasks, plan multi-step actions, and execute them autonomously, in a way similar to how humans learn by doing. This is the heart of the Wall-A system, the embodied foundation model developed by the company. The model integrates perception, reasoning, and precision manipulation using a unified general understanding and manipulation framework, having achieved full automation with high precision by breaking with the rules and limitations of traditional robotic programming. In practical terms, the robot sees, thinks, and acts, without any programmer needing to anticipate every scenario. When customers schedule a cleaning service through the 58.com app, they are greeted by a dual team, a human professional and a robot from X Square Robot. Together, they carry out the cleaning tasks. The professional handles the complex work that requires judgment, while the robot executes structured and repetitive tasks such as cleaning tables, picking up small objects from the floor, and tidying surfaces. This hybrid model, human and robot working together, is deliberate and strategic. Rather than trying to solve all problems at once, which would make the product expensive, slow, and risky, X Square Robot uses the real environment of consumers' homes to continuously train and improve its model. Each cleaning performed generates real data in real conditions with real objects, which feed the model and make it progressively more capable. The partnership with 58.com, which operates in more than 200 cities and serves tens of millions of households, indicates that the Shenzhen pilot is part of a broader collaboration to scale embodied artificial intelligence in the service economy, with plans to expand to more Chinese cities. This transforms 58.com into more than just a commercial partner. It becomes the world's largest domestic robotics training laboratory. X-Square Robot currently operates with two main hardware models, the Quanta X1, a general-purpose dual-rotor-wheeled robot, and the Quanta X2, described by the company as a next-generation general-purpose humanoid wheeled robot. Both are controlled by the Wall A model and designed to operate in domestic environments, which are, by definition, the most unpredictable and challenging for robotics. If a robot can master the living room, it can handle virtually any physical space. What has changed compared to what existed before is the scale and commercial viability. Isolated experiments with domestic robots have existed for decades, but none have reached the market as a service accessible to the end consumer, with an already established distribution platform and tens of millions of potential users. This is precisely what makes the X-Square Robot launch a milestone, not just for the company, but for the entire industry. The most immediate impact is on the domestic services market, valued at hundreds of billions of dollars globally. The hybrid model adopted by X-Square Robot does not immediately replace human workers, it complements them. But the direction is clear. As the Wall A model is refined with real data, the proportion of tasks performed by the robot will grow. Professionals in the domestic cleaning sector, who today represent a massive workforce in China and the rest of the world, will have to adapt to a scenario in which part of their functions is gradually automated. 58.com, in turn, signals that it is migrating from a labor platform to a technology-integrated service model, which structurally alters the sector. On the opportunity side, the potential is enormous. X-Square Robot is building something that goes far beyond cleaning. It is creating a real-scale learning model that can be replicated in other sectors: elderly care, logistics delivery, hospitality, education. The strategic support of companies such as ByteDance, Alibaba, and Meituan, combined with 58.com's platform present in more than 200 cities, creates an unprecedented data and distribution infrastructure for any robotics company in the world. Whoever understands and adapts to this model first, whether as a professional, company, or investor, will have a considerable advantage in the next great wave of intelligent automation. The reaction of the technical community to the X-Square Robot launch was predominantly positive, but not without important caveats. The enthusiasm of experts reflects a growing consensus. The gradual automation model, where humans and robots share responsibilities and autonomy increases progressively, is more sustainable and realistic than all-or-nothing approaches. On the other hand, there are legitimate questions that this type of deployment raises. The presence of robots equipped with cameras and sensors inside residences raises obvious privacy concerns. The Wall A perception systems collect visual and spatial data from inside consumers' homes. What is done with that data afterwards, how it is stored, and for how long it is retained are questions the company has not yet answered publicly and in detail. In a context where data privacy regulation is still being developed in many countries, this is a sensitive point. There is also the debate about the real quality of current autonomy. The fact that the robot still works alongside a human suggests that its level of autonomy is far from the 99% mentioned as a target. Tasks such as emptying a trash can, moving heavy furniture, or dealing with stubborn dirt are still typically human. The company acknowledges this, and the business model is built precisely on this premise, using each deployment as training data to gradually raise that bar. In the global competitive landscape, X-Square Robot's position is distinctive, and this becomes clear when we compare it with the main competitors. Figure AI, for example, signed an agreement with BMW to integrate humanoid robots into automobile manufacturing, focusing on repetitive and physically intensive tasks, and raised hundreds of millions in investments, including support from OpenAI. Agility Robotics, with its Digit robot, is operating in Amazon's warehouses, being one of the first humanoid robots in real commercial deployment. Capable of walking, carrying 35-pound boxes, and navigating stairs and uneven floors. Boston Dynamics, in turn, revealed its electric Atlas at the beginning of 2026, focused on heavy industrial tasks, with the first batches destined for Hyundai's Robotics planned and Google DeepMind. What distinguishes X-Square Robot from all these players is the deliberate choice of the domestic environment as the battlefield, and the partnership model with a mass services platform. Figure, Agility, and Boston Dynamics operate primarily in factories, warehouses, and controlled industrial environments where variability is lower. Square Robot chose precisely the most difficult terrain: real homes with objects out of place, children, pets, furniture in unexpected positions, and surfaces of all kinds. 1X Neo and Figure 03 are considered the main rivals in the home assistance segment on the international scene, with pre-sales already open. But none of them has the distribution scale offered by the partnership with 58.com, a platform that already connects millions of customers to domestic service professionals in more than 200 Chinese cities. This distribution advantage is possibly the most underestimated differentiator of X-Square Robot's move. It is not enough to have the best robot. You need access to the largest possible number of real homes to train and refine that robot. Where X-Square Robot still falls short compared to some competitors is technical transparency. Companies such as Boston Dynamics and Agility Robotics have published more detailed data on the capabilities, limitations, and performance metrics of their robots. X-Square Robot, still in its early expansion phase, keeps much of its architecture and concrete results out of the public domain. which makes an objective comparison of real technical performance difficult. The launch of X Square Robot in partnership with 58.com is not just another robotics startup announcement. It is the first time in history that a robot with foundational artificial intelligence, capable of perceiving, reasoning, and acting autonomously, has arrived in the homes of real consumers as an accessible commercial service, integrated into a distribution platform at massive scale. China, with explicit government support and a vigorous investment ecosystem, is clearly betting heavily on this frontier. And this division of labor between human and robot, with the machine gradually taking on more responsibilities, could become the standard model for the sector worldwide. The question that remains, and that deserves reflection, is this. If a robot can already clean your home today in Shenzhen, how long will it be before it can care for an elderly person, prepare meals, or teach a child? And would you be willing to let that happen in your home? Leave your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. That way, you will always receive notifications of new videos. Until next time.